Hey guys, Crewman here, and I know I'm a little late, but I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the Steam survey and what I think it says about the state of gaming in summer of 2023. So let's get to it. So after a quick glance, a few things stick out to me. The top AMD spot goes to AMD Radeon Graphics, which basically is AMD's standard iGPU at the 12th spot. Intel's iGPU UHD GFX at 17th, and then the Xe GFX at 14th, which is Intel as well. To me, this means that there are a lot of people who are basically playing Steam games on GPU-less PCs, and they're all improving on this chart, which, in my opinion, means that more people are getting into PC gaming, which is never a bad thing. The second thing that sticks out to me is the Nvidia 60 series SKUs are still on top. Once you get past the 1650, which is going down in the charts, you have the 1060, 2060, and 3060. And thankfully, the 4060 is nowhere to be found. And honestly, I hope it stays that way, as it's basically one of the worst value propositions we've had. Oh man, I don't know, in a few years, probably all the way back to the 2080, or yeah, probably about the 2080 in my opinion. And I would stay away from it. I did a bunch of testing with the 4060 Ti, and it was the worst GPU I have tested so far in terms of value. And from what I've read, the 4060 non-Ti is basically the same, if not worse. Third, the 3070 is the highest ranked, quote-unquote, above average gaming GPU. It makes sense due to the collapse of the GPU market, and the prices of used 3070s are going for around 300 to 350-ish. And if you know where to look or you bulk buy them, you can get them for less, as I have been for quite a few months. The 3080 is next, which also makes sense as they have fallen below $500 on the used market. And frankly, you could probably find them for about $400 to $450 if you know where to look. And in my humble opinion, there is no better value than that in terms of a high-end gaming GPU that will last you for a long time. The fourth thing I noticed is the 3050, along with the 3060 and 3050 Laptop GPUs, are the only Ampere series in the red, which means people are getting rid of them. So in my opinion, that means they probably bought these things during the height of the bull market for GPU mining and the GPU shortage, and we're just getting them because it was better than nothing, and now they're getting rid of them for quote-unquote better GPUs, probably, maybe like the 3060, 3070, so on and so forth. Next, on the AMD front, the RX 580 has gained some ground, and in my opinion, this is probably miners selling these GPUs to people who are looking for a super cheap upgrade from a really old GPU, like, I don't know, maybe like a 600 or 500 series Nvidia. We're talking GPUs from like 2010 to 2012, or maybe they're coming from no GPUs. I know there's a lot of overseas markets are interested in the 580s, as you can buy them for really cheap, and it's a big upgrade to what a lot of people over there are using. And I know quite a few people who have sold their 580s overseas or donated them for tax write-offs, and I was one of those people. The next thing is, if you sort by percentage change, it's no surprise that the 30 series saw the highest gain, as right now they represent the best value on the used market. It's funny, their MSRP was fantastic value if they could have been bought for that during their life cycle. And it's funny because now they are the true value that everybody thought they were when they came out. And I think this has something to do with the perception, which is basically mostly justified, that the 40 series is the inverse in that and has really, really poor value, especially when it comes to the lower end of the stack. So basically anything under the 4070, and I would argue the 4080 and to a lesser extent the 4070 Ti are also poor value as well. Moving on, the reverse trend seems like people are finally upgrading from the 16 series, as that was kind of like a weird product stack where it was basically kind of like a very meh refresh of the 10 series. And basically, if you look, the 1660 and the 1650 have taken some pretty big hits on the chart, even though the 1650 is still number one on the chart, which I think that means that you're finally seeing people start getting rid of those, as that was one of the few things towards the end of the bull market that people could get for a reasonable price. back to AMD, a personal highlight for me is seeing the 5700 XT on the rise on the charts, as in my humble opinion, it is the best bang for your buck in terms of 1080 and to a very lesser extent 1440 gaming for under $150 USD. I have a very hard time believing that in the current market you will get a better value than the 5700 XT unless you get, a 1 in a million deal, but we could do that with anything, and I'm talking about current market trends. A funny thing to note is the 710 is higher than most AMD GPUs on this list, which is kind of a blow for AMD, but comically enough, it's going to make me do a video on my 710 to test it in gaming and see what it can do. Expect a video on this in the future. The 4090 is a lot higher than I thought it would be. It's higher than the 6700 XT, the 970, the 60, and the 6600, which I think are great values and are still very prevalent in gaming. And it's also higher than the 6800 XT, which that makes a little more sense as its value in the market hasn't been there until a few months ago, and even then it was still selling for quite a bit. I was able to get pretty good deals on selling most of my Midnight Black models. The 4070 Ti is actually the highest on the chart, not counting the 4060 laptop, which again, those laptop SKUs are kind of hard because how many people are buying them for gaming. But I mean that is impressive, as the 4070 Ti is basically a 4090. I personally don't think it's a good value, but obviously the Steam charts say that most people disagree with me. So my final thoughts, as I've already pointed out, it seems like a lot of new gamers are taking advantage of the current market to upgrade their older GPUs by a few generations, and it seems, at least based on Steam's chart, that there are a lot of new gamers out there playing games on iGPUs, which I think is pretty awesome, and I think I'm going to try to do some content on that in the future. So many people overspec their PCs for what they do. How many people do you know that have a 3K plus gaming PC that they use to play League of Legends, Diablo, or Overwatch? As I'm filming this video, I just finished playing D4 on my 5600X3D GPU and my 7900 XTX PC. So talk about overkill. I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. And I think what I'm getting at is, and what the Steam survey is showing, is that you really don't need a high-end PC to enjoy a lot of the games that Steam has to offer. So keep that in mind, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. So please like and subscribe. Crewman out.